There are moments in life when you feel like people are walking all over you. Like no matter how hard you try, someone always seems to get the upper hand. Maybe it's that coworker who talks down to you. Maybe it's that so-called friend who keeps pushing your limits. Or maybe it's the quiet way people dismiss you, overlook you, underestimate you. Have you ever stopped and wondered why that keeps happening? It's not because you're weak. It's not because you're not good enough. It's because without realizing it, you're carrying invisible cracks that the wrong people can see from a mile away. They look for them, they test for them, and when they find them, they use them. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Predators don't go after the strongest. They go after the unguarded. They go after the reactive. They go after the ones who crave approval so badly, they'll bend until they break. Most people spend their whole lives trying to be liked, trying to keep the peace, trying to prove their worth. And in doing that, they hand over the very power they're desperate to hold on to. But you're not here to be liked. You're here to be respected. And if you want to stop being a target, if you want to walk into any room and have people think twice before underestimating you, then you have to fix the 3 weaknesses that silently paint a bullseye on your back. Because the moment you do, the game changes, and no one will ever see you as an easy target again. Most people think boundaries are about being rude or aggressive. They imagine boundaries as walls that push others away. That's why they avoid setting them. They want to be liked, to be seen as kind, helpful, easygoing. They say yes when they want to say no, smile when they feel uncomfortable, and stay silent when someone crosses the line. And every time they do it, they teach the world something very dangerous, that their lines are negotiable. What you don't realize is that boundaries aren't walls. They're doors, strong, locked, and opened only when you decide boundaries don't keep people out. They teach people how to treat you. And when you don't have them, when you let people push, take, and test without resistance, you are silently telling them you can be controlled. Here's how it works. Manipulators and opportunists don't start by taking everything. They start small. A favor that makes you uncomfortable. A joke at your expense. A request that eats up your time, your energy, your peace. They watch how you react. If you say nothing, if you laugh it off, if you give in, they learn everything they need to know. That you are safe to push, that your comfort is negotiable, that your no can be bent into a maybe, and eventually a yes. This is why people with weak boundaries become targets. Because people who test limits don't respect kindness. They respect resistance. And the truth is, if you don't enforce your boundaries, you don't actually have any. Think about the moments when you said yes out of guilt, when you worked late because you didn't want to disappoint, when you let someone speak to you in a way that made your stomach twist because you didn't want to make it awkward. In that moment, you thought you were keeping the peace, but what you were really doing was showing them where the line isn't. Strong boundaries are not about confrontation, they are about clarity. When you calmly state, I'm not available for that, or I don't accept being spoken to like that, you are not attacking anyone. You are simply announcing the standard. You are telling people this is the space in which I can exist with respect, and anything outside of that is not welcome. The problem is, most people wait until they are furious to set boundaries. They explode after being pushed too far, but boundaries are not born from anger. They are born from self-respect. Anger says, I hate that you crossed the line. Boundaries say, here's the line so you don't cross it again. And here's what happens when you start setting them. The wrong people get uncomfortable. The manipulators, the takers, the emotional leeches, they will push back. They will call you selfish. They will act offended. They will guilt you. Why? Because your boundaries are disrupting their control. And this is where most people collapse. They think the discomfort means they are doing something wrong. But the discomfort is the sign you are doing something right. You are not here to be endlessly available. You are not here to be the solution to everyone else's problems while ignoring your own. You are here to protect your time, your energy, your peace. Every no you give to something that drains you is a yes to something that builds you. At first, setting boundaries feels unnatural. Your voice might shake. Your heart might race. You'll want to explain, justify, over-apologize. Don't. Boundaries are not debates. They are statements. The more you practice, the stronger your voice becomes, and something powerful starts to shift. People stop testing you. Because predators only chase prey that runs, they only press on walls that crumble. When they see you stand firm, when they hear your no and realize it's not up for negotiation, they move on. They look for someone easier, and something else happens, something beautiful. The right people, the ones who value you, who want your presence but don't feel entitled to it, will respect your boundaries. They will not push, they will not guilt, they will not punish. They will say, I understand, and that's how you know who actually deserves to be in your space. The life you want, the respect, the peace, the confidence, it starts with one decision: to stop asking for permission to protect yourself. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to choose who gets access to you and how much. Boundaries are not selfish. They are survival. They are not about pushing people away. They are about choosing who gets to come close. And the moment you start living by that truth, you stop being the easiest target in the room. Because people can only manipulate what they can reach. And when your boundaries are strong, they can't reach you anymore. Most people don't realize how much power they give away every time they lose control of their emotions. They think reacting instantly shows they're strong, that standing up for themselves means raising their voice, slamming doors, firing back in the moment. But the truth is, emotional reactivity is not strength. It's a signal. It tells everyone around you exactly how to control you. And the ones who want to exploit you, they're watching for it. Emotional reactivity is like leaving the keys to your mind on the table for anyone to pick up. The moment someone knows what buttons to press, they don't need force. They don't need power. They just need to push the right button and watch you implode. That outburst, that flinch, that trembling voice, those are clues. They show manipulators exactly where your vulnerabilities are. Think about the people who've gotten under your skin the fastest. They weren't necessarily the loudest or the most aggressive. They were the ones who knew exactly what to say to make you doubt yourself, defend yourself, or lose control. They drop a comment, watch your face, and if they see your eyes flicker, if they see you tense up, they know they found the crack. And once they find it, they don't stop. They keep pressing until you snap. Because they know when you snap, you stop thinking. That's what emotional reactivity does. It shuts down your logic. It pulls you out of strategy and drops you straight into survival. And when you're in survival mode, you can't see the game being played. You can't see the traps being set. You can't respond powerfully because you're too busy defending your pride. People who master their emotions aren't cold. They're clear. They understand that staying calm doesn't mean you're weak. It means you refuse to let anyone pull you out of your power. It means you've built a mental fortress that can't be breached by cheap words or petty games. And this makes you dangerous to manipulators because they can't get a reaction out of you. They can't get control of you. Imagine someone trying to provoke you and getting nothing back. No flinch, no rise, no change in tone. You look them in the eye, calm and steady, like they don't even deserve your emotional energy. That's not silence, that's dominance. Because when they can't pull you into their chaos, they lose their leverage. This doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop performing your feelings for people who don't deserve to see them. You learn to pause, to breathe, to buy yourself 3 seconds before responding, because those 3 seconds can save you from 3 days of regret. You start choosing your response instead of letting them choose it for you. Controlling your emotions isn't about suppressing them. It's about directing them. Anger can become fuel for focus. Fear can become data. Anxiety can become preparation, but only if you slow down long enough to understand what you're feeling before you act on it. Most people explode before they even name what they're feeling. They lash out, then regret it. They defend themselves, then realize the other person just wanted to see them lose control. And here's the cruel truth. Once you explode, the damage is done. It doesn't matter if you were right. It doesn't matter if the other person was wrong. The moment you lose control, they win. Because people won't remember who was correct. They'll remember who looked desperate. So how do you take that weapon out of their hands? You stop making your emotional state public property. You become unpredictable. Not by being chaotic, but by being steady. People expect reactions. When they don't get them, they get confused. That confusion gives you time. It gives you space to see their strategy while they're still trying to figure out yours. The most powerful people in any room aren't the loudest. They're the most composed. They speak slowly. They move deliberately. They don't explain themselves to everyone, and they don't respond to every provocation. That calmness isn't natural. It's trained. It comes from practice, from putting yourself in small, stressful situations and practicing staying still, from teaching your body to relax while your mind sharpens. And something incredible happens when you start doing this. The people who used to test you stop because they're looking for someone they can provoke, and you've become immune. You no longer feed them with your reactions. You no longer hand them control. And when they realize they can't manipulate your emotions, they stop trying. There is strength in silence. There is power in stillness. When chaos is screaming in your face and you stay calm, people start to see you differently. They stop seeing you as someone they can rattle. They start seeing you as someone they have to respect. You don't need to fight to prove you're strong. You need to remain unmoved when someone tries to shake you. That's what power really looks like. Not noise, not drama, not emotional fireworks. Power is quiet, controlled, centered. And when you become that person, the one who can't be baited, can't be rattled, can't be emotionally hijacked, you stop being a target. Because no one wastes time trying to disarm someone who can't be disarmed. One of the deepest traps people fall into is the hunger to be liked, to be accepted, to be told they matter. It sounds harmless. It even sounds human. And it is. We all want connection. We all want to feel seen. But when that desire turns into a need, when your sense of worth becomes hooked on what others think, you hand over your power without even realizing it. And the world is full of people waiting to use that need as bait. Here's what most don't understand. Needing validation makes you predictable. It tells manipulators exactly what to offer you. A compliment here, a little attention there, a few sweet words when they want something from you. They study you like a map. They figure out what makes you light up, what makes you feel special, and then they dangle it in front of you whenever they want control. You think they see your worth, but they're only using your need to be seen as a leash to pull you where they want you to go. The moment you start depending on praise to feel secure, you lose control of your identity, because now you shape yourself around what gets approval. You hide your real opinions, your real emotions, your real boundaries, because you're terrified that showing them will make people stop liking you. And so you become what the world rewards instead of who you really are. Think about how many times you've bitten your tongue to avoid disapproval. How many times you've laughed at something you didn't find funny just to be part of the group. How many times you've overworked yourself for a boss who barely noticed because you were desperate for acknowledgement. Every time you did that, you told your mind, their approval matters more than my peace. And the more you tell yourself that, the more you shrink. That's how people lose their edge. They stop living for their purpose and start living for applause. But applause is fickle. One moment you're everyone's favorite, the next moment you're invisible. People's opinions are unstable, always shifting, always colored by their own moods, their own insecurities, their own agendas. If your self-worth is tied to that, your confidence will rise and fall like a leaf in the wind. And here's the brutal truth. The people who crave validation the most are the easiest to control, because they'll do almost anything to keep it coming. They'll say yes when they mean no. They'll ignore red flags. They'll stay in toxic environments long past their expiration date. They'll let people cross lines again and again, as long as those people sprinkle in just enough praise to keep them hooked. It's not loyalty, it's dependency. The solution isn't to stop caring entirely what people think. It's to stop needing it to survive. You start by building a foundation inside yourself, so solid that no compliment can make you, and no criticism can break you. That means learning to validate yourself out loud, consistently, deliberately, not waiting for the world to call you worthy, but telling yourself every day, I am. This isn't about arrogance. It's about ownership. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, I'm proud of the way I show up, even when no one claps. It's about holding your head high, not because the world says you matter, but because you decided you do. That kind of self-belief is unshakable. And once you have it, manipulators lose all leverage over you. Because here's the secret they don't want you to know. People can only bribe you with what you crave. If you no longer crave their approval, they have nothing to bribe you with. Imagine walking into a room and not needing a single person in it to like you. Imagine making decisions based on your values, not on who might frown or who might clap. That kind of freedom is magnetic. People sense it. They respect it. And ironically, when you stop chasing approval, that's when genuine respect begins to find you. It takes practice to unhook from validation. You'll feel the old pull, wanting to explain yourself, wanting to be liked, wanting to smooth things over. Resist it. Sit in the discomfort of someone not approving. Let them misunderstand you. Let them dislike you, if they must. Because your worth does not shrink just because someone refuses to see it. Every time you choose your peace over their approval, you strengthen your core. Every time you say no and refuse to soften it with excuses, you remind yourself you're not here to be chosen. You're here to choose. And every time you walk away from people who only value you when you perform, you make space for people who value you for who you are. Validation is not evil, but needing it is. Because the second you need it, you're no longer free. You're owned. And freedom is the soil where real confidence grows. So stop waiting to be seen. See yourself. Stop waiting to be chosen. Choose yourself. Because the moment you stop chasing applause, you become someone the world can't ignore. Not because they approve of you, but because they can't control you. And that is when you stop being a target. Real power doesn't come from being the loudest voice in the room or the toughest person in the fight. It comes from being so rooted in who you are that nothing can shake you. That's what building an unshakable core is about. Becoming the kind of person who doesn't crumble under pressure, who doesn't need approval to move forward, who doesn't get thrown off balance when life throws chaos their way. And the truth is, this kind of strength is built, not born. You don't wake up with it. You create it choice by choice, moment by moment, until it becomes who you are. An unshakable core starts with a decision that you are done being swayed by the moods, opinions, and actions of everyone around you. It's deciding that you will no longer give the outside world permission to define your worth. Most people spend their lives reacting to insults, to praise, to rejection, to acceptance. They ride emotional roller coasters because their stability is tied to things they can't control. When you decide to build your core, you step off that ride. You stop giving away pieces of yourself to every passing opinion. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop needing. There's a difference. Caring comes from strength. Needing comes from fear. When you operate from need, you'll bend your values to keep people happy. When you operate from strength, you can care about people without letting their approval determine your direction. And that's when people start respecting you, because they can feel the difference between someone who seeks validation and someone who stands on conviction. To build that conviction, you have to know what you stand for, not what the world told you to stand for, not what gets applause, but what you truly value. This is where most people stumble. They try to be everything to everyone, and in doing so, become nothing to themselves. You have to get clear. Ask yourself, what principles guide me no matter who's watching? What behaviors align with the person I want to become? What am I no longer willing to tolerate from others or from myself? When you define your code, you stop living on borrowed identities. You start living on purpose. Once you know what you stand for, you protect it like your life depends on it, because in a way, it does. This is where discipline enters. Discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect and action. It's doing the things that strengthen your mind and spirit, even when you don't feel like it. Keeping promises to yourself, showing up on time, saying no to what drains you, saying yes to what builds you, even when it's hard. Every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you reinforce the message that you can be trusted by you. And that's where unshakable confidence comes from. Not from praise, not from approval, but from the quiet knowledge that you can count on yourself. People with unshakable cores also master their inner voice, because your mind is always talking, and if you don't take control of it, it will sabotage you. You can't speak to yourself like an enemy and expect to walk like a warrior. The world will try to tear you down. You cannot join in. You have to be your own anchor. That means replacing self-criticism with self-command. When fear speaks, you answer with courage. When doubt whispers, you answer with action. You train your mind to become an ally, not an attacker. And here's what happens. As you do this, your presence changes. People feel it before they see it. You walk differently. You speak with calm certainty. You stop explaining yourself to everyone because you no longer need permission to exist as you are. You no longer chase people to understand you. You focus on understanding yourself. That quiet confidence disarms those who once tried to test you. They stop poking because they can feel you won't flinch. This doesn't mean life gets easy. It means you get steady. Challenges still come, but they no longer shake you to your core because your core is built on bedrock, not on sand. You can face rejection without collapsing. You can stand in conflict without losing your center. You can hear criticism without it crushing you. And you can hear praise without becoming addicted to it. That's what freedom looks like. And maybe the most powerful part is this. Once you build an unshakable core, you no longer need to prove your strength. You don't need to fight to be seen, to be heard, to be respected. Your energy speaks for you. People notice, not because you demand attention, but because you radiate something rare. Self-possession. That is the ultimate armor. That is what makes people think twice before trying to manipulate, provoke, or control you. You stop being the person who bends. You become the person who stands. And the world treats you differently because of it. This is what building an unshakable core gives you. Peace that can't be stolen, power that can't be faked, and confidence that can't be broken. It is the foundation of everything. Your relationships, your success, your happiness. Without it, you're tossed around by every storm. With it, you become the storm. And when you reach that point when your sense of self no longer depends on who claps for you, who criticizes you, or who walks away, you become untouchable, not invincible, not perfect, just deeply, undeniably solid. And solid people are never targets. Transformation isn't real until it's tested. You can talk about boundaries, you can talk about emotional control, you can talk about self-worth, but until you stand in the fire and hold your ground, until you face the same situations that once broke you and respond like a different person, it's all just theory. Growth isn't proven in calm moments. It's revealed when the storm comes. And the storm will come. If you've decided to stop being a target, if you've decided to build a core no one can shake, then you have to be ready to prove it, not to anyone else, but to yourself. Because the person you are trying to become won't be built by comfort. They will be built by pressure. And the moment that pressure arrives, you will have two voices fighting for control. The old you that wants to react, to please, to collapse, and the new you that is trying to rise. Here's the challenge. The next time someone crosses your line, do not flinch, do not explain, do not shrink, hold your boundary like it's made of stone. They may push harder, they may get louder, they may try to guilt you. That's fine, let them. Your job is not to make them comfortable. Your job is to protect the space you've built for your peace. And when it's over, when you walk away without bending, something inside you will ignite. You will feel it. That spark is pride, the kind that doesn't need applause because it comes from finally honoring yourself. Then there will be moments where someone tries to provoke you, to pull you back into old patterns, to bait you into reacting. Your heart will pound. Your mind will race. You will want to lash out, to defend, to win the moment. Don't. Instead, pause. Breathe. Let silence be your armor when they expect an explosion, and get calm. Watch how their power evaporates. This will be hard. It will feel unnatural. But the second you walk away with your composure intact, you'll realize something. They didn't win. You did. Because you chose control over chaos. And perhaps the hardest test of all will be when the craving for validation sneaks in. You'll want someone to notice your progress, to say, I'm proud of you. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll ignore it completely. That's your moment. That's when you look in the mirror and say it to yourself. Because the person you are becoming does not need proof from anyone else to know they are enough. They give themselves what they once begged the world to give them. And that is how they stay free. This challenge isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about catching yourself in the moment and choosing differently, even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble. Every time you choose the new pattern, the old one gets weaker. Every time you stay grounded, when you used to crumble, the new version of you grows stronger. That's how transformation happens, one defiant choice at a time. Expect resistance. The world around you is used to the old version of you. They've benefited from your lack of boundaries, from your reactivity, from your hunger for approval. When you change, they will notice. Some will try to pull you back. They will test you, question you, even mock you. Let them. You don't owe them the old version of you just because they're comfortable with it. Your growth is not up for debate. You are not doing this to prove anything to them. You are doing it to prove something to yourself. That you are no longer the easy target you once were. That you can protect your peace without guilt. That you can stay calm when chaos erupts. That you can walk alone if it means walking in your truth. And the beauty is, once you prove it to yourself, you won't need to prove it again. Because you'll know, you'll feel it in your posture, in your voice, in the way you move through the world. People will feel it too. They'll sense the shift, the quiet strength, the unshakable presence, and they will treat you differently. Some with more respect, some with more distance. Both are victories because both mean they see what you already know. You are not a target anymore. This is the moment that defines everything. Not when you get it perfect, but when you keep showing up, choosing the new path even when the old one screams for attention. Not when you win applause, but when you keep going without it. Not when people finally understand you, but when you stay solid even if they never do. So take the challenge. Step into the same situations that used to undo you and stay whole. Stand in the same storms that used to drown you and stay standing. Walk into the same rooms where you once shrank and take up your space. Every time you do, you are not just proving who you are now. You are burying who you used to be. And that is the real victory. Not that people stop seeing you as a target, but that you stop seeing yourself as one. Because once that belief dies, no one can resurrect it. You are no longer asking for power. You are becoming it. And the world will adjust. Power isn't something you ask for, it's something you claim. And when you finally stop giving people the tools to break you, when you stop inviting manipulation with weak boundaries, stop surrendering your peace with emotional reactivity, and stop begging for worth through validation, you step into a version of yourself that no one can touch. That is real strength. This isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming solid. A tree doesn't apologize for having deep roots. It simply stands unmoved through every storm. And that's what you must become. Unshakable, undeniable, untouchable. Because when you rise with that kind of presence, the world stops testing you and starts respecting you. Understand this. People treat you according to the standard you set. Lower your standard and they will step on it. Raise it and they'll have no choice but to rise to meet it or get left behind. So set the standard now, draw the line, own your space, command your respect. The old you was easy to overlook. The new you will be impossible to ignore. And from this moment forward, no one will ever see you as a target again. You said,